Hello! Today I am going to talk about the different components in the tone chain of an electric guitar. Which components have the most impact on the tone? Of course, I'm going to stick to electric guitars and not acoustic guitars at all. The very first component, in my view, for the tone chain of an electric guitar is the strings. Contrary to what some companies want to make believe, there is very little difference in tone from one manufacturer of strings to another. There is some difference, but they are very small. You have to hear the difference, you really have to hear one after the other a couple of times to hear a difference. The difference are mostly due to the wrappings around the thick, the 3 or 4 thickest strings on an electric guitars. The wrapping are usually, the core is always made of stainless steel, but the wrappings are either made of steel or steel plated with nickel, or the wrapping is made of nickel. There is of course more difference between the steel wrappings and the nickel wrappings. Then there is difference between the all steel and the steel with a nickel plate, or the nickel plated and the completely nickel wrappings. Those are, as I said, those are very small differences. And in a mix, when you play with a band, if you're gonna record with a full band, those differences don't mean a thing. Furthermore, if you're playing some metal, especially extreme metal, those differences don't mean a thing. It doesn't matter at all in the tone chain. It only matters if you're playing clean or partly overdriven or slightly overdriven. More than that, and you start losing the difference between one kind of strings and the other. The next components, I would say, would be the woods. And again, contrary to what many people might think, especially those who want to sell you their guitars, there is very little difference between different tone woods. If all the rest is made the same way, with the same components, the simple fact of using one tone wood against another is almost imperceptible. The next component that I'm gonna talk about are the hardware, and strangely it has a bigger impact on tone than the tone woods. I'm not making this up, it's just what it is. The hardware. I'm gonna show you two. I have more, but I'm gonna show you two examples of different hardware. On this one you have the bridge and a stop bar. a separate stub bar, and the strings are always are on the top of the guitar. The other one, see, that one is all it's all one unit, and the strings go through the body. You put the string through those holes, and it has it's part of why there is a difference. Oh, I'm gonna keep it. Some of the difference in sounds between those two guitars are due to the hardware. Of course, hardware, it means the bridge, and it also means the tuners. Although the tuners, I'm not so sure about their effect on the tone chain. The next point I would like to talk about is how the neck is attached to the body. There is basically three kinds. There are more than those three, but those are the three most important categories. That one is called a bolt-on, although scientifically speaking it should be called a screw-on neck, because those are screws and not bolts. But in the world of guitars, we call them bolt-ons. So those are screwed, the two pieces are screwed one to another, and that's about it. On that one, the two pieces are glued together. Generally speaking, the neck and the body are sculpted so that the neck goes slightly inside the body, which and that sliding part is glued to the body. So there is the glue in itself is a kind of a filter, kind. The third categories of neck attachment is neck through. Usually it's two or more pieces of wood glued together, and it's from the headstock to the end of the body. It's all one piece, and they glue the rest of the body on the side of that neck. Although I don't know why, but in the guitar world, when it's the other ways to attach the neck, it is frowned upon to have a neck that is made of more than one piece of wood. Strangely, when it comes to neck through guitars, it doesn't seem to bother anyone. There is, again, more differences between glued neck or set neck. That is a synonym of glued neck. There is more difference between the glued neck and the screwed neck, or the bolt-on neck, than there is between the glued neck and the neck through, or between the neck through and the bolt-on. Now we're gonna get into components that start to make a little more difference. I'm going to talk about the pickups. Generally speaking, there is two kinds of pickups, double coil and single coil. There is pretty large difference between a single coil and a double coil. That being said, in the same categories between one single coil and another, there is not that much difference, especially again when you make when you play some metal, or even more if it's extreme metal. The difference will the difference between two single coils or between two double coils will not be that much. If you play some blues, maybe you will hear a little more. Again, if you play just the guitar and you switch between the sound of the two pickups, you will hear some kind of a difference, but it's very minuscule. You have to hear them one after the other many times before you can spot the difference. And in a mix, in reality, when you're not alone playing with your guitar, the difference is indecipherable. So, but you will maybe hear, even if you go to metal or extreme metal, you will hear a difference in how much overdrive you get, how much distortion you get from your pickups, because you will maybe not hear a difference in tonality, but a difference in volume, in power of the said the pickups. Again, the next components would be, well, I could talk about the electronics of the guitar. Then again, there is not much difference. You will hear a difference in the potentiometer, the pots of the guitar. Between generally the pots are either 500K or 250Ks. You will hear a difference when in the way the volume or the tone, the tapering of those pots will be different. Between the 500K and the 250Ks. But in the tone there won't be any difference. The next item in the chain is the cable, the cable between your guitar and your amps. Some people say there is a difference between the two, between different cables. Again, the difference is almost imperceptible, and usually there is much, you will see more difference in one length of cable versus another, more than you will hear a difference between one company and the other. Generally speaking, if you have 100 feet cable, it will bleed out a little of the treble, but it has to be a very long cable to do this. So again, there will be differences in the quality of the cable. Maybe some cables will be better shielded than others, or maybe some cables will be tougher than other, more resistant than others. But in tonally speaking, it doesn't do that much. The next item in the tone chain would be pedals. For this video I am sticking to fuzzes, the overdrives and distortions. Those are probably one of the easiest and the cheapest, you will have the most difference per dollar invested. And if you want to change the tone of your guitar or the sound of your rig, one of the easiest way would be to buy another overdrive, fuzz, or distortion. This will pretty much radically change the sound of your guitar. And next we have the amplifiers themselves. Again, contrary to what most people, especially again those who want to sell you their wares, there is not that much difference between one kind of power lamps and another set of power lamps. In reality, the circuit itself will have a much bigger impact on the tone of the amplifier, much more than the power lamps used. Again, there will be even less the difference if you go to metal or extreme metal versus completely clean and or on the edge of breakup. It's not exactly the same dynamics between those kind of sounds. It's quite normal that it won't react the same way. What can I say? I guess I am ready. Oh, I'm gonna have to stop for a second. As I am talking about amps, there are basically three kinds of amplifiers, three families, three kinds. The first one is valve amp. Valves, lamps, or the same name, the different names for the same components. The little bottles, glass bottles inside those kind of amplifiers. The first kind and the oldest is the valve amp. The next one are the transistor or solid state amps. And the third one, and the youngest, are the digital or modeling amps. If you play clean or some kind of blues or edge of breakup, maybe hard rock, the bests are still either valve amp or digital modeling amp. They are getting pretty good now. But again, the solid states amp have evolved a lot since the 1960s, and now you can have not bad, a pretty good clean tone, and if maybe not for blues, maybe there is something that isn't quite there. But if you do metal, especially extreme metal, it's super. The solid state amplifiers they are plainly super. Dimebag Darrell used the solid state amplifier, and his tone was pretty good. And it kind of helps because, again, why the valve amps are good for some certain kinds of music made it less desirable for others, especially if you're playing extra fast metal. The solid state will be even possibly better. Yeah. because it's in the circuit itself. It's not exactly the same components, so there will be the solid state. If you play fast, the solid state will keep your playing more precise. The sound of your playing will be more precise. The next step in the next components in our tone chain would be the cabs and the speakers. What I mean by cab is there are basically again two kinds of amplifiers. The combo. The combo is in one box. You have your amplifier and your speakers in one box. A stack would be your amplifier is a box, and your speakers are in another box. It will change the tone, and that is it's pretty radical again. It depends. If you have a combo, a little combo, 12 inch combo, and you find a way to plug it into a 412 cab, it will radically change the sound. Then again, if you radical, and probably you could make it even more radical if you change the kind of speakers, because even if you stick to your little combo, 112 combo, if you change the speaker inside, it will be pretty, it can be at least pretty radical in the change of tone. But it will change even more if you change the cab or the size of the cab, because even 412, all 412s are not the same size. They are not made of the same the panels in which they are made are not the same thickness. Sometimes they are not made of the same material. Some are particle board and some are some kind of plywood, and others are even full wood. It will so that's why, to make it, to come to some sort of a conclusion, the thing that will change the most, that will do the most change in the tone of your guitars, or will be your overdrive, fuzz, distortion pedal, and the speakers themselves. That will radically, the speakers or the cab, like I just said, will affect the most your sound. Even I am playing now with the application called IK Multimedia Amplitude 5, and even in that application you can, the most difference are achieved the same, pretty much the same way. If you go inside, if you work inside of a studio, the microphones that are miking, with which you are miking your cabs, also can have a pretty radical change in your tone too. Of course, if you're just a guitar player, you probably don't have those speakers. It's the engineer in the studio to have those available. And keep in mind that almost any guitar, bass guitar, with some grease, some grease, arm grease. I don't know if my expression is good in English. With a little work, almost any guitar you can transform into a metal monster. The inverse is not necessarily true though. So pretty much said pretty much what I wanted to say. So it's time to thank you all for listening to this video.